This is me being angry that I have to move it every time I push record. Hello again. So, fun story. After I made my video yesterday about sharing my CFS story, you know, the sickness that kind of destroyed my nervous system, basically. I was already, as you can see, like I'm having the tics pretty bad again, and a bunch of little things, but despite being like pretty tired already, and I could tell my nervous system was out of whack, and you know, with the tics getting worse, and just feeling really fatigued, but I had plans to go with the lady that I live with to Costco, and we were also going to go pick up my catatonia medication that I've been off of for a while, because I was, as you can see, like I was starting to have pretty bad tic attacks, and my nervous system wasn't recovering on its own like I'm used to, so I needed help. Anyway, we go to the store. It's a grocery store with a pharmacy, and we walk and we put the prescription in, and we go because she's got 2 of her kids with her, and so they needed to go to the bathroom, so we went to that. And I think this is a catatonia thing. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know yet. I'm still working through it, but we go to where the bathrooms are, and I stay out with the cart because I don't need to go, and I'm standing there at the front of the cart kind of leaning on it because I'm starting to feel pretty tired. And that's the last moment where I'm leaning on the cart that is vivid for me. Like, I remembered everything that happened, but that was the last vivid moment. Everything else is hazy. Until shoot, it's pretty fuzzy for the rest of it too, and I don't know how much of that is from taking the medication. We waited, but I'll tell you the story. So I go, there's a bench by the bathrooms, and I go and sit down because I can just feel like physically I'm out of energy, and I was like, oh great. And I also felt this sort of fog, like this heaviness come over me, and I could tell I was reaching, whether it was full-on catatonia or shutdown or dissociating. I honestly don't know. This is a new mystery for me to solve. Judging by what I was experiencing, I started having more of my dysautonomia symptoms that I've been having a little bit beforehand, you know, racing heart, crazy fluctuating temperature, and it just started to get worse. So we get up to leave the bathroom, head towards the pharmacy, and I'm holding onto the cart because I can feel that like my body's already shaking and weak, and there's a point where I slumped down because I was about to pass out. I slumped down, I was super dizzy, and it's all very fuzzy to me, but it was just weird because like it felt like instantly a bunch of people were like crowded around making sure I was okay, and next thing I know someone had brought a wheelchair, and I think I was full-on catatonic episode at this point because it took me a long time to be able to walk, and even then it was, you know, it was very, very, very slow and shuffly. It's a staple of the catatonia. And I'd gone nonverbal, I'd gone very spacey, you know, in the wheelchair. They had brought a nurse or a doctor from, there was a little clinic in there by the pharmacy to come, and she, this part is funny, it's not funny, but she put her hand on my back, and you know, I am touch averse, but obviously in this kind of state everything's worse. She put her hand on my back and my body just spasmed, and I started hitting my head like right away, like it was bad, it felt terrible. And you know, as we go and we wait in the little waiting room area for the clinic to my medications refill, and I'm sitting there in the wheelchair, and I feel terrible. I feel bad, like death. I'm nauseous, I'm dizzy, I'm like, you know that feeling right before you pass out, you know you're gonna pass out. I'm like there, prolonged, like, and it would get worse. I'd have this wave come over me where like, oh my god, I'm gonna pass out right now. And the lady had gone to check my medicine, and her son was there, and I was like, hey, like, go get your mom, like, fast, please, because I was like, I am legit about to face first fall out of this chair. She came back, and she kind of tried to help calm me down, and I ended up just, like, freaking out, and I just, like, I told her, like, I just need to lay down, and so, like, she, like, helps me kind of roll out of the wheelchair so I can lay down, because my theory at that point that it was the dysautonomia, it was POTS, that because I would stand up and my heart would have palpitations, so it was like that. And so, like, back in my mind I knew it's like, I just need to lay down and I will feel better. Like, I know that. I looked that up, and like, if that happens, then I know that it's POTS and the dysautonomia. So, like, I had to lay down because that was the only thing I could think of that would help it, and I was starting to feel pretty bad. So yeah, so I laid down, and it wasn't even 5 minutes that, like, I started feeling better. You know, and I told her, and I told the doctor, and, like, the doctor came and took my, like, blood pressure and heart rate, and it was a little high. She wanted to check my blood sugar, but I was, like, so close to passing out already, and I have passed out because of blood before, so I was just like, no. I didn't want to exacerbate that. Anyway, so I do fine when I lay down, and then I try to sit up slowly, and I can't. I go back to laying down, and I sit up, and I'm okay, and I go sit up into the chair, and then I'm not okay, and I go lay back down. So it's just this, like, back and forth, slowly trying to get myself into the upward position to see if my heart and my body can handle it. Anyway, eventually my prescription's filled, and I take that, and I think it was, I'd made sure to check the time, and it was about 20 minutes, kind of on an empty stomach, and that calmed my body enough that I could get up and be normal and move. There was no more difficulty walking or talking. There was, you know, end of the catatonia. Like, I still felt very weak and shaky, and I think that was more of my chronic fatigue stuff than anything, because I was already tired, already shaky, but no heart palpitations. Like, I wasn't feeling like I was gonna pass out. Like, so that's what happened. We ended up going to Costco after that, and honestly, I don't know if I was just shut down, like, because that experience was very stressful, almost maybe triggering PTSD-wise for me, but the whole evening is like fuzzy and hazy, and I don't know if it's that, a triggering thing, or an exhaustion thing. Like, my brain was just like, see you later, because that was exhausting on my body that was already tired. And my friend, the one I'm staying with, Melissa, I asked her while we were at Costco, and I was like, you know, because before I had said, hey, pay attention to before I take this and before after I take it, you know, if there's any difference. And she's like, I mean, you just look really tired, but the one thing she noticed is that she's like, you're not stimming at all. Like, and that was one thing I was worried about, is this medication might suppress my stimming, and that's not good. Being able to pay attention to my stimming and listen to my body is very important to me. So that was disheartening. Another reason I'm doing this video is this is like the 3rd time I've vlogged every day, which is, you know, a miracle. But I need to document all of this because I don't know for my tics when they come, when they go. I don't know. It helps me see. And so if you that's stimming. If you notice things, if I start to tick more when I'm talking about this thing or whatever from the outside, by all means, like, help me catch those things, because my ticking is probably kind of right up there, a little less mysterious, but right up there with the catatonia that I understand pretty well. But the ticking, I don't fully understand what's going on there yet. I understand what makes it kick in high, what makes them calm down, what makes my ticking go from just some facial tics to some vocal tics, what makes me start having tic attacks. Like, if you watch these last 3 videos, you'll see me in all of those states. I'm not ticking, I've just got facial tics, I've got some tic attacks and some vocal tics. And you haven't seen yet my vocal tics very much, but last night, even after I did yesterday's video, I had a lot more vocal tics. Like, it was slowly, progressively getting worse. So my theory is that it's a sensory thing, a nervous system thing. I'm outside in the same environment that I recorded yesterday that I was having the tick attacks, but I have music playing, and I think that that's why I'm doing better. I think it is a sensory thing, a nervous system. My nervous system just goes haywire with input, sensory input, and that's what makes my tics get worse, if that makes sense. If you are super smart doctor person and you know that's wrong, if it sounds right, like, I'm being totally open with you guys, totally open, because I'm on this journey myself, trying to figure stuff out. And so any input you guys can offer, examples from your own lives, things that you know specifically, things that you notice in me, in my videos, it's extremely valuable to me. So I very much appreciate if you guys could do that for me. It's just if you catch something, if you catch a weird time I stop stimming or start stimming, and I've even noticed, like, the way I hold my hands, like, sometimes if I'm doing this, it's a negative kind of thing, it's a stress thing or whatever, because I'm pressing together, it's a pressure thing, and I notice that I don't always have my hands like that. So I would very much appreciate that if you could watch these last few ones, and even go back to my earlier videos when I was consistently on the Ativan, my catatonia medication. There's a distinct difference too between then and now. So that's all I got for you guys today. Stay classy, stim freely, help a Lily out, and watch some videos and tell me what makes sense to you. I don't know, but that's all.